So we had a big update today on the $80 game price point, which has seen a tremendous amount of backlash online, as you would expect. Does anyone want to spend more money for video games when there's no real discernible difference or upgrade for the most part versus the $70 games we have? Not really, no. So it makes sense why you see a lot of this getting thrown around online. Specifically, it's been about, really at this point, Mario Kart World. That's the one game so far that's come out at $80 and had a ton of eyeballs on it. However, there was another game that was priced at $79.99. I think it caught a lot of people off guard because it's not a Mario, a Zelda, a God of War, a Forza Horizon. No, is it maybe a smaller franchise, one that's had one game now and a sequel, and that's Outer Worlds 2. Well, it appears Microsoft has maybe revised some of their plans for this game, and it appears the backlash for the $80 price actually worked. We're going to take a look at that, though, here today, guys. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. So it wasn't that long ago. In fact, it was May, the beginning of May 2025, where Microsoft issued a statement saying that their consoles would go up in price to where we're still sitting with a $600 Xbox Series X 1 terabyte with the disk drive. But then also, certain games would go up to $79.99. They say we also expect to adjust the pricing of some of our new first-party games this holiday season to $80. And that was, again, that I don't want to say surprised people, because you could look at that and go, what's the game you figure? Call of Duty. Okay, there's a lot of people who play Call of Duty. That's like the one, or maybe they buy one or two games a year. That's one of them. You know, like the more casual market. And they'd probably look at that and go, it's $10 more. I only buy a handful of games, if that, per year, whatever. But it has that strength of IP. And that's one of the reasons people looked at that. I don't think anyone was looking at Outer Worlds 2 and going, that's going to be the $80 game for Microsoft. Well, that's what happened. They announced it. There was immediate pushback online, and it seemed like a lot of people thought, you know what? I can wait on Outer Worlds 2. It's not that pressing of a matter for me. And now, today, we have an announcement where they say, this is from the Outer Worlds official account, we have received your SOS via Skip Drone about the pricing as an organization devoted to making sure that corporations do not go unfettered. We at the Earth Directorate have worked with Redacted to revise the price of Outer Worlds 2. They showed an image where they scribbled out the $79.99 and then replaced it with $69.99. There was also a quote here, as Windows Central did get a response from Microsoft, a spokesperson, where they say, we're focused on bringing players incredible worlds to explore, and will keep our full-priced holiday releases, including the Outer Worlds 2, at $69.99 in line with current market conditions. So I think it's very important to note that they specifically mention holiday releases, full-priced holiday releases, as in holiday releases for this year. I still think 2026 is... it's unknown, clearly, because we don't know what the future is going to hold, but also we don't really know when Microsoft's going to make the move to next generation, as there have been discussions they could do that at the end of next year. Like, holiday 2026 could be big for Microsoft, not only for the anniversary of the Xbox brand, it's turning 25, and it appears they're lining up a bunch of releases with a new Gears game, apparently a Halo remake that's been kicked around a lot, a Forza Horizon, and then maybe Fable, and launching a new Xbox system, a new generation, which, as we've seen when 2020, when the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series launched, we had $70 games launch. So maybe they use that with a new Call of Duty game, and they go to $80 alongside of this new generation. But in the here and now, it does appear that these games coming up this holiday, which would include Black Ops 7, will be coming in at the price point of $70. So good news all around, at least again for the short term here. The $80 price tag got wholly rejected, it seems like, by the gaming market, because the only reason really that this would happen isn't because a bunch of people on X or Facebook, just social media, were yelling about it. No, what happened is, I assume the pre-orders just came in well below expectations. And yeah, a lot of that would have to do with the $80 price. Now, Mario Kart World, again, is the game that a lot of people are looking at right now because it's sitting there with millions of copies getting out into the marketplace, and it has the $80 price tag attached to it. It is the game that people look at as kind of setting that $80 mark now for the market, and we're just seeing who is going to follow suit. It doesn't necessarily feel like a lot of these companies are rushing to $80 right now after seeing Borderlands 4 come back after the whole back and forth online. Is it going to be 80? Is it 70? And they turn in a $70 price. There is the potential for Battlefield, which should get revealed here soon, tomorrow. When they make that reveal, we should have pre-order details. The release date does appear to be in October, just based on a recent leak coming out of D-Labs. And they had a price that was at like 80 euros, I think. However, we have seen the conversion of that then in the US to 70-ish. So I think it's still going to be 70. But if they try to make Battlefield 6 80, that's going to be quite telling and a little surprising, because I don't know if Battlefield is in a position to aim for that high watermark in terms of the pricing. After 2042, they might want to think about just going to 60. But either way, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it here in like 24 hours or so. But with Mario Kart World being 80, people are, of course, asking, well, this worked with Microsoft. It seemed like no one was really pre-ordering, or enough people weren't pre-ordering to then make it seem like 80 was good. Can this then happen to Nintendo? I think it might be a little too late for that now, because Mario Kart World was also bundled with the Switch 2. So the sales data is just going to be very difficult to read here, because a lot of people, I'm sure, are opting just to buy the bundle and get the game for $50. All right. Now, the bundle will end in the fall, and at that time, it's going to be the Switch 2 by itself or with Pokemon Legends CA, and then Mario Kart at 80. That would probably be our best tell as to how the market is reacting to $80 games, okay? Because Mario Kart is a very, very strong franchise for Nintendo. It's their strongest one. I mean, if you look at the Switch 1, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was like 60 million plus copies, and that was selling at $60 the entire way, with some exceptions for different sales and its own bundles, okay? But still, the vast majority sold, I would have to figure, at $60. So I don't think if we were going to see a game that had that kind of strength really move units in the marketplace, I don't necessarily know if that $80 would get in the way. And again, that would tell us where the market is with this price point, because while people will go, it's an extra $10, eventually you get to a price where you look back and go, wow, how did we get here? I mean, it feels like $60 wasn't that long ago, and you'd be right, it wasn't, but we've gone from 60 to 80 very quickly in the span of 5 years. Like, that's how we moved up $20 in 5 years. That's very quick. All right. So that's the thing. You get to a certain point and then you back up and reflect. All right. Like $100, when we get to, which, let's be real, based on how these companies are moving right now, we'll get there at some point. It could even be Grand Theft Auto 6 for all we know right now. When we get to $100 and you see it then tick over to what's really the 3 digits there, that's going to be another moment where people step back and go, whoa, how did this happen? And we're kind of already there with early access and special editions, that sort of thing. But it's more or less the baseline price that really makes people consider their purchases when they're shopping. But really, unless a lot of people just stop buying all these Nintendo games like Mario Kart, or like the next big 3D Zelda game that'll probably be 80, or the big 3D Mario game, I just don't think Nintendo is going to be deterred necessarily. Now, it doesn't mean that all of their games are 80, because I will say I'm having much more fun with Donkey Kong Bonanza than I was with Mario Kart World. So I just think it's a better game, but it's priced at 70. Nintendo didn't think to push that because the Donkey Kong franchise is nowhere near as strong as Mario Kart, obviously. And they're still sort of in this phase of trying to build the Donkey Kong brand with everything else they're doing right now, with the theme park. We were hearing about a movie that apparently is in the works behind the scenes, and this game. So it's more or less about the future for that franchise, not the here and now. So I'm curious what the next $80 game will be for Nintendo, and then also beyond that, which third party is going to take a swing at it and see how it does there, because there is a sticking point right now between just 70 and 80, which is funny because there was a lot of backlash to 70 back in 2020, and now it seems to be almost a relief. It's like Outer Worlds 2 is $70. That was close. All right, we're good now. But that's what happens when you keep pushing and pushing and pushing. even some of those more expensive prices from, 5 years ago start to look a bit more affordable. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Were you surprised to see the Microsoft kind of backtrack a bit here with the Outer Worlds 2 going from 80 to 70? And do you think there's any possible way that Nintendo would be deterred if sales started to slump maybe on an $80 game that they try in the future? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.